Okay, so just to go over it, afflictions create karma. Karma does not create afflictions. If you say karma creates afflictions, then the problems are what then creates karma? Then you have no way of stating what creates karma. Second, in the 12 links, you'll notice the first link is ignorance. That produces the afflictions. That's the first link. The second link is karmic formations. So right there in the 12 links, you see first is afflictions, ignorance. That brings karmic formations. Okay? Third problem is if you say karma causes afflictions, then the arhats who still have in their mind stream karma that cannot ripen because they've eliminated the afflictions, you would have to say that those arhats still had afflictions because they still had karma, and karma produces their afflictions. So that becomes kind of problematic. Okay, so just think about it and look at your own mind and really think, what creates what, and really, and this, you have to really think about what does karma mean, because we often use the word in a very loose way. Yeah, His Holiness even says sometimes we use it to mean I don't know. Like, why did this happen? It's karma, meaning I don't know. Okay, so we should try and think about it and know. Okay, then, also relating to the karma and afflictions thing, we purify karma, we eradicate afflictions, or we lessen the force of the afflictions. Okay, so even the words we use are different relating to those two. So somebody says, I have been engaging with the Vajrasattva practice, doing the Nundro, and I'm noticing that there is occasionally some mental blockade or resistance to engaging in this powerful purification practice. Anybody else have that happen? Really? I bet this guy thinks he's the only one who's had that happen. Boy, some days I'm able to focus, and other days it takes a lot of determination to get through one mala. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what the cause of this might be, so that I might apply either an antidote or purify the negative karma that ripens as such. I don't know which of the disturbing attitudes or hindrances that I should classify this as. Is it ignorance, laziness, of busyness, complacency? What is it? Okay. So what, since so many of you reacted positively, what do you think is going on when you have resistance to doing the practice and a blockade inside of you?
Self-grasping ignorance.
That's always a safe one to say whenever you ask what a problem is. Okay, what else? What else?
Thinking that I am better than I am and not wanting to look at the proof of the contrary.
I see. So thinking that I'm pretty good, I haven't done so many things that need to be purified. Yes, I don't want to be faced with the evidence that my how I think of myself and the reality are different.
Sometimes for me, it's feeling overwhelmed
What do you?
already with that I've been doing a lot, and then my brain, it's like it's getting tired.
Oh, okay. So sometimes it's you've been meditating a lot and you just feel tired from it. Yeah.
I think sometimes too, it's right when you're at the tip of making a breakthrough or getting an aha. To me, when there's a blank or there's some resistance, it says, "Oh, I'm really close to something." So,
Yeah.
so I try to
I'm
embrace
sorry,
it.
I couldn't hear you very well.
What's that?
That's it. You got it.
Oh, okay. I do have it on. For
I don't
me,
know
a
if the
lot of
mic
ti-
is on, but you have to
For
hold it.
me, a lot of times that means that I'm really close to something, a real aha or a breakthrough or an insight. And if I can just stay with it and embrace it, a lot of times it's really fruitful.
Yeah. So sometimes it is true. We're really making progress, and but the self-centered thought is not going to give up easily. It's going to make a scene. Yeah. So yeah. So it's going to create a scene, and so it either creates a scene of huge distraction and lots of attachment, or the scene of like, I want to do something else, It's like, why this again? And you have that kind of resistance. And so it's very helpful at that time. You have to be gentle with yourself. You can't have this thing of, and take out your four-wheeler and plow through it. You have to be gentle with it, but you have to be quite firm. And, we're going to stay with this, we're going to practice it and keep going. Yeah.
I notice in the moments when I really feel this sort of having enough with cyclic existence, not wanting this whole samsaric charade anymore, really, then I can break through my resistance. Then I don't want it anymore. I want to get rid of it. I want to do anything, and then I'm completely focused and I want to purify. I want to, I want to get away from it.
Yeah.
And that's the real urge of wanting to free myself from cyclic existence. Right. That breaks occasionally through the resistance of clinging to.
So that's one of the antidotes. Yeah. Instead of just throwing up our hands and saying, okay, I'm going to quit the session. I'm going to go read a magazine instead, you know, to, to really think about what it means to be born in cyclic existence again and again and again. And when you think about that and you develop some awareness of the danger, so that you're afraid of being under the control of afflictions and karma, then you get some energy to really overcome that resistance. Yeah, because then you see the resistance for what it is. It's just nonsense in the mind.
I sometimes find that when I'm quite confusion brings up this resistance. Like I start to realize, oh, I don't really understand this topic. I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing. And I start to maybe doubt the practice. If my faith in the practice isn't too strong, then I can find resistance because it's like, what am I really doing here?
Yeah. So another source of that kind of resistance is doubt. And it could be doubt in ourselves, am I really capable of doing it? Or do I really know the method correctly? Or is the method going to work anyway? Who is this guy Vajrasattva? Why am I visualizing some guy sitting up on top of my head? And so doubt, is often a cause of this kind of resistance. And the doubt just sends us off on some other thing, and makes the mind twirl around something else. So we have to recognize it as doubt. It's not curiosity wanting an answer to our spiritual questions. It's doubt making us just twirl around. And so recognize it for what it is.
I think the relationship with Vajrasattva reflects how I feel about myself as well. So the first year I did it, he was like a unpleasant figure trying to force me to do something. and all my non-acceptance of self was there, and then I couldn't bear the stuff coming out. Like, ugh, horrible. And why are you forcing me to do this? So, it's like reflecting my own self-relationship. And I couldn't see that. So it became an enemy, the practice.
Yeah.
And I fought it all the way through. And having to, understand that that's actually a lot more to do with how I'm perceiving my own faults.
Okay, yeah. So it's similar. It kind of relates back to what Venerable Nima said about, you're seeing all this junk come up. You don't like it. So what do? You blame Vajrasattva. And then you project all your super ego issues onto Vajrasattva, who's sitting on your head going, now you've got to look at those defilements, and you've got to look at those misdeeds and those broken precepts. And then, of course, you make a lot of resistance because, like you said, the way we're relating to ourselves is with a lot of judgment and harshness.
I blame it on the Maras. It's I know it's self-grasping ignorance, but when I think the Maras attacked Buddha on the night of enlightenment, because they don't want us to release that self-grasping.
So what do you mean by Maras?
Well, personification of self-grasping ignorance.
Yeah.
Not wanting the mind to move toward awakening, basically. Yeah. But that image helps me.
Okay. So making the self-grasping ignorance or even the self-centered thought into an image of Mara.
Right, yes. Throwing lightning bolts.
I get dragged away by sensory input. So, for example,
by what?
By sensory input. So, for example, it starts to snow. Finally, it starts to snow. I love it when it snows. And then I get into the session and I'm thinking, well, Venerable Children has taught us to rejoice and make offerings. So I start making offerings. And then I'm starting to think, but is it heavy enough for the snowblower? Do we need the tractor? What if nobody goes and shovels? Well, now it's getting too wet. But what if no one goes and shovels? And then...
your mind is off. Okay. Our mind is very creative, in terms of the resistance. It will do that kind of thing like, okay, I got to take care of the snowblower. Or sometimes we just nod off. When we get sleepy in session, that's also a manifestation of that kind of resistance. Okay. Sometimes, there might be some karma involved, from previous lives of disrespecting holy objects or holy texts or something like that. And that might make us have resistance to the practice. Or maybe in previous lives, we started doing retreat and then we we did a few days and we ran down the hill. And so we have that habit of, not continuing. So that comes up this lifetime as some kind of resistance. So that if there's some karma involved like that we should, we can purify, or the karma of disrespecting holy objects. Okay. When a similar topic or quality or affliction comes up more consistently, can you share a few different styles of purification that one can try? You mentioned this in one of your 2005 question and answer sessions. I have found that looking deeper at attachment to get a stronger sense of regret has been helpful. Okay, so you're asking for different antidotes or counterforces to different afflictions. That what you're asking about is what are antidotes to different afflictions that come up repeatedly.
I think how I understood it in the Q&A is you mentioned that there are different ways to actually do the practice, whether or not it's with Vajrasattva or the light or the mantra or how you change it up to make it a little, like come at it from a different angle.
Uh-huh.
The actual practice.
Oh, okay, okay. So let me just do that briefly. So sometimes focus on the visualization, and you have the three different visualizations in the text, and or actually four different visualizations, and so focus on one more than the other, and that can really help, because different afflictions, different time, different moods you're in, one visualization or the other can really help. And so sometimes it's more helpful to focus on the visualization and put the mantra in the background. You're still reciting it, but it's more in the background. Other times it's more helpful to really focus on the sound of the mantra and let yourself sink into the vibration of the mantra. And in that case, maybe the visualization takes a back seat at that time. Sometimes, depending on the situation, if you're thinking of a particular event that happened, it can be quite helpful to bring Vajrasattva into that event. Yeah. And so he's there purifying everybody and everything. He's on the heads of everybody in that chaotic event that you had. Or sometimes you can just think of Vajrasattva in place of yourself, and you're visualizing the event, but Vajrasattva is speaking, and Vajrasattva is thinking about how to respond emotionally to the event that's happening. And that can be quite helpful if you're playing a record in your mind of something that happened, and then these bad feelings come up, and then you play the record again and the bad feelings come up again. Then it can be very effective, just instead of being old you who just has the same emotions and same emotional responses, or the same kind of thoughts, the same feelings, you put Vajrasattva there. And if this person had said or done that to Vajrasattva, how would Vajrasattva look at the situation? And how would Vajrasattva feel? And that can really be very good for giving us, opening our minds to new ways of seeing the situation. Because so often with these emotional things that are very habitual and places where we're really stuck, it's because our mind is like really narrow. It's gotten very narrow. We can't see alternatives of how to look at the situation, or how to look at the other person, how to look at ourselves. So putting Vajrasattva there, either in our place or on everybody else's head, that can also be very effective.